is taking a piece of these individuals' property in order to improve a road. And part of the property that they're taking has the town's water line going beneath it. So since the town has an interest in that, they're asking for the town to release whatever interest they may have in the easement for those water lines. So basically, we'd be giving up a right to compensation for the portion of that property that we have the ability to run a water line under. As I understand it, and George, correct me if I'm wrong, that's not going to be that big a deal because this water line is being moved from one side of the road to the other, and therefore the town's not going to have a need to run a water line under this property.
Right.
So with that, I don't see any reason to object to that, but just want to make sure everyone's aware of what we're looking at here.
Thank you, Peter.
In the interim, if there's any issues from access perspective or anything like that, we're not giving any right to that.
Well, I think you probably are. Once the state condemns it, we're not going to have the ability to run the water line there. So I guess that is the question for George is,
Well,
when is this going to
the
be?
right-of-way is moving over, so the water line's still being into the state right-of-way or the county right-of-way real line. It's still within the right-of-way, it just.
So if you needed to get in there for something and do something, there's no.
Oh, yeah, it's still gonna be within the state and county right-of-way.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Yes, Bob.
Councilmembers Edwards. Esposito.
Yes.
Jazinski.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes. And that closes that part of the meeting. Again, we'll open up for public comment.
Yeah, my name is Bob Paul. There's a property at 1282 to 1288 Pangburn Road. And I'm petitioning the town board for a zone change. I got the property owners from the west end of Pangburn Road and the north end of Route 7 want to change. I personally need to change because financially it's crippling me. And basically, for a meeting that we had with Gino the other day, I'd like to see what to do with this. I've got several signatures for zone change.
And what are you asking for, Mr. Paul?
Changing that property from a C1 to a C2. So that warehousing is allowed in my warehouses. Plain and simple.
I can take that petition. and just-
If you want, one for a board member?
If you have it, but I can make it form for the record.
So Bob had stopped
Oh, you
in
have, okay.
Yeah.
You're prepared.
last week.
I'll just
That was
pass it
Gino.
on then.
George, Dan.
Whatever else you need.
We reviewed a few options right now, and I'm sure Dan can expand on it a lot better than I can. The difference between C1 and C2 is pretty small. So I guess there's a few ways we can go about it. Is there one more, Carol?
Just- I'll make copies for whoever doesn't have them.
So I guess initially I'm supporting and seeing what we can do to help Mr. Bob Paul. I guess I'll look towards Gino and Dan and everybody to guide us a little bit. I guess there's, the change of zoning is one way. There's enacting the comprehensive plan. Would be another avenue to change the zoning or the rules. So I guess, you know, is there an official way to kick off the request, or?
Well, Mr. Paul has met with me a couple times, actually several times, Really, the issue at hand is that he wants to add a use to his zone that doesn't currently allow it, warehousing. And there's a couple options he has. Basically, he can try to get a use variance, which is very difficult to get, and it's a tough thing to do. This is another option, basically go in front of the town board to basically extend the C2 into a part of the C1 and include, I think, 4 or 5 parcels, including Mr. Paul's, to extend it further out. I mean, and there's not much change from a C1 to a C2. Basically, there's only 2 different uses that were not permitted in a C1 that are permitted in a C2. So it's not a dramatic change, but my recommendation to the board is let the planning board also review this, get some comments from them, and have them review it and give a recommendation to you guys as well. But ultimately, this is the first step, is actually petitioning the board to take action and start to get the ball rolling. I guess at this point, I mean, Pete is probably the best person to talk to as far as the next step and how to go further from there.
Yeah, I think that's right. Typically, and I don't know what the town's law here as to how it goes by, but usually it's the town board kicks it to the planning board for the planning board's recommendation, and it comes up to the town board for approval. But we can walk through each of those steps and get you started.
Yeah, so at least, I recommend that Mr. Paul come tonight and please take the first step tonight. He's one of the biggest business owners in town, and try to be as friendly as possible to our business owners.
There's one other caveat is when doing that kind of thing, you probably have to consult with the comprehensive plan. So we'd have to make sure that was complied with also.
Thank you.
So Bob, I'm not sure I have any more public, but if we're here for a little bit longer, if you can stay, I can introduce you to Pat. She's the chair on the planning board, so we'll get started there. I'll talk to the board here and talk to Pete and start mapping out our steps. And then I'll talk with the board about the comprehensive plan. See what we can do. Yes, sir. Public comments? More?
I'm sorry, I guess I didn't finish. I had a question. Could one of the board members from last year answer the question? As far as how a person is notified of termination?
So, I want to be careful how I think the public comment, but there's no two-way. I mean, if a board member wants to, answer it, that's fine. If he doesn't,
Okay.
maybe you could approach somebody, off
I see, okay,
on the side.
all right.
I certainly don't know.
So, can,
Additional comments?
I guess not.
All right, I'm going to bring that portion of the meeting to a close and go with councilman concerns. Todd, do you want to start, or? any
Sure.
thoughts?
One, I was hoping that we could put on maybe the next meeting agenda, the bullet of our Gorman research so that we could kind of put that to bed. Don't know what your thoughts were on timing of that, but
think we'll be on
I'm
it.
concluded everything I need to conclude. Also, in our last meeting, we chatted about 911 calls and doing some research. I have reached out to County Legislator Anthony Duzinski to solicit his assistance and direction with that. I've had some conversation with a couple of other folks. I need to get some additional detail on years back from Mr. Duzinski. But I really would like him to jump in and help, because he was the gentleman that we worked extensively on the topic of countywide consolidated dispatch 2 years ago. And he'll be a great, I think, advocate for giving us some direction on what, if anything, can be done for those situations.
Did you want me to send a quick note to say, you know?
Oh, no, I don't have any doubt they go back. I just think what we need is, I've gotten some detail of one of the instances from Mr. Brown. I know there was probably at least 2 other situations up there, though, that I don't have the detail on. Mr. Jasinski, and I thought there was one other, was it Mrs. Jones? Did you talk about a situation that
Yes.
you were familiar with? I mean, the more specifics we can get, probably to research and get, just put it out, that's all. I don't have that.
Just make sure you don't call on your cell phone. You'll get Syracuse. No kidding.
Tim Ferrioli has also, on his own accord, done a little bit of research and reached out, made a few phone calls as well. He did forward some of that information along. The former 911 director, Bill Diamond, has since retired. He was one of the gentlemen that we worked on also with the consolidated dispatch process a couple of years ago. I think he was really integral in designing, our 911 system that we have over the recent past. And John Nosback is now really probably the main point of contact. He was also involved in the consolidated dispatch process that I was part of a couple of years ago. I'm sure that he'll be a person that will roll into this conversation, but I was going to kind of let County Legislator Jasinski kind of start that process for us. I think he'd be just an asset for us in that process.
In what you found so far, just for my own curiosity, is it broken?
I don't know. I have not enough information to make any conclusions yet.
You guys have any thoughts? I don't know, Joe and Sandra, maybe you can meet with Todd and just kind of relay your you might not remember. I'm sure Sandra does. All right, thank you, Todd. Anything else, or?
That's it.
All right. Mr. Bob Myers?
Well, I have a lot on my mind, but I'm not so sure that I should say anything.
Oh, go ahead.
I would like to say, though, as a council member, I am a little concerned, and I would really like to see us as a town, as residents and as board members, I would like to see us work together, okay? I don't think that our podium, I don't think that our board meeting should be to be attacking one another. Okay, I think that if we have personal issues, I think we ought to be man and woman enough to talk to one another and deal with it that way. I mean, a lot of people come to the meetings now and we're appreciative of it, but we do like to, I would like to see us deal with town issues instead of personal attacks. We're a small town, we really don't need all of that. That's my feelings, and I would like to see us get away from that. And I would like to see us deal with issues like men and women should. I think we should learn to disagree agreeably. And I know some won't agree with me, but that's the way I feel, and I think we have important issues to deal with here in town. And I would like to think that we could all work together. You all have important information that we could use, and if we could work together, we could see things happen and get done in town, if we could work together. We don't need the animosity that we're seeing. We don't need to be at each other's throat. And I just really feel bad that this is somewhat our way our meetings have turned into, because it's unfortunate. I don't think we really need that. So, enough said. That's the way I feel. I'd like to see things change.
Thank you, Bob. Joe?
Yeah, I would like to say, as my own personal opinion, that I disagree with Tim Ferrioli, who spoke earlier, about the qualifications of Pat Tim Bishop. I think that the town's best interests have been attended to, and I believe that sincerely. And it's a point of disagreement that we have, Tim, but this is what I think, and I think that this board has made a good decision. Now, nothing is to say that Doug Thorpe wasn't a good man. In fact, he-
It's your decision. It's the board's power to do it. So I'm not personally attacking
I
anybody.
just
So
wanted to
continue.
make my point of view
Just be quiet.
clear.
You too.
Don't tell me to shut up.
I didn't.
Anyway,
Let's
Rude.
try to,
Boxing.
so it's councilman concerns, councilman's turn to talk.
Freaking boxing.
so that's all.
All right.
Yes, I've got something to say. It was stated earlier over here that I accused highway superintendent of wrongdoing. I never accused our highway superintendent of any wrongdoing. I don't think he was involved to the point that he was, did anything wrong. I never accused him of anything like that. And I also never accused our town clerk of anything. It's what I did say at the last meeting, and I'll say it again. I billed for $33,445. It was withheld from the town board during the budget process. We were told repeatedly that the town was 60-some thousand dollars under budget, when the fact remained we were less than 30. They knew about this in July, and it was not reported to the town board, to some members of the town board, until December, the last week of December. Is what I'm saying. The residents of the town were told at the budget, when the budget was ratified, that we were 60-some thousand dollars under budget. When the fact remained, we were not. The residents of the town were lied to. And I stand by that statement. And as far as me not getting a permit, that is an outright lie. I did work on my house, I had a permit, and it was in front of my house, posted in the window. I added a deck to it, and I paid for the permit. So I don't know where that is all coming from. But I certainly did not do any work without obtaining a permit. And our investigation on the Gorman matter is not concluded. There will be a report at the next meeting